best we both will obey the instructions also as we try to break the ball, break clean. Defend yourselves at all times, and the best luck to you both. Touch gloves.
Well, here we go. The last fight on the prelim show is this one. Lewis Howells in the blue and white shorts versus Liverpool's very own and the very, very popular Clarke in the black and orange shorts. This one scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds in the super middleweight division. Clarke hasn't really put a foot wrong so far in the 8 professional fights which he's had. As Josh said, he sold a hell of a lot of tickets, and speaking to Paul Smith about him a little while ago, they're extremely excited about him because if he can do the business over and over again and eventually build up to that level, then he could be the next headliner in this arena.
Yeah, that's what his dreams and aspirations will be. Obviously, it's very exciting at the start of his career. He's a hell of a ticket setter as well, so he has got a bright future ahead of him. He's a nice young lad as well, really polite young boy too. So, yeah, he's a really good lad, Steve, and I'm really looking forward to see how he progresses.
You can instantly see how well schooled he is, Nathaniel, can't you?
Yeah, he's great. I've seen him before. We go often down, do a bit of sparring at the Four Corners gym down in Liverpool. You know, Joe brings us down, me, Reagan, Dean, and they've had rounds with Steve and, you know, a bunch of the other boys for in there. So, aye, great fighters and very composed. Doesn't rush what he's doing. Looks to see, you know, looks for the openings and finds them well. So, he's got a lot to look forward to in his career.
He just lands a bit of a chopping right hand over the top there on Howells, who knows a few of the tricks in the book, which you can already tell. Those straight shots are coming in from Clarke, and Howells just kind of lowering his body position. They're going over him, then he's grabbing hold of him. We hope that doesn't become a bit of a theme, because it can make a bit of an ugly fight. But Clarke has shown how incredibly mature he is throughout every fight and in every round. And he'll just adapt and overcome is what he'll be wanting to do.
Yeah, and he's in good company. He's, like you're saying, under the watchful eye of the Smith brothers and Stephen Smith. I know he spends a lot of time with the boys, and lovely. He's putting them together lovely, and even his head movement there and not rushing anything, and that was 4 or 5 unanswered punches, and he slipped every shot after it, rolled every shot after it, so he's looking very impressive.
Howells giving Clarke just a little bit to think about. Nothing which has been too effective, but he has found himself on that back foot more and more as this round's gone by. Just been a bit awkward switching stancer as well, Howells.
You can tell Howells knows his way around the ring as well, and he's no mug. You know, it was just great round there for Steve, but you can tell Howells is going to give him something to think about.
Josh, when you fight somebody like Howells, which would have been, you know, like in the very opening parts of your career, and he's awkward and he's a bit frustrating, can it get on top of you a bit psychologically?
Well, for me it never, because I had an extensive amateur background, going over the world, fighting multiple multi-nations tournaments as well. And Steve Clarke's pretty much similar, you know, he's had a good amateur background, good amateur schooling at the Rotunda and fighting for England and going around the country in ABAs and box tournament cups and all that, so I don't think this will get to him again. It'll progress his career, just another stepping stone to where he wants to get, and he's shown the composure here, which is good.
It's a really good point, that is when you have had that really good amateur background, you've fought so many different people with different styles to do different things, and it just becomes not necessarily another night at the office, but something that you haven't not faced before. And Clarke nice and confident here as he comes out on that front foot. Howells got through with the jab there, just rocked ahead of him. But the man applying the pressure is Clarke in this fight.
A lovely shot there, chopping right hand, that was nice.
Everything comes off of the jab of Clarke. And he makes it work every time.
He uses his range well, you know. But what I'm quite impressed by as well here too is he's throwing his shots and then he's moving his head off the line or rolling under a shot for the counters from his opponent. So, yeah, it's a good performance for him so far.
You can almost hear the thinking of Steve Clarke. He just kind of edges forward time and time again. Howell's kind of trying to manhandle him a little bit there.
It actually looks, and I know it seems weird because they're the same kind of size, but it just looks like a weight difference as well when you're saying.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
Manhandling, and Howells just looks that bit. I don't want to say chunkier, but thicker.
Broader, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's definitely broader.
Sorry if you watch this back, Howells, but yeah, there just seems to be that little bit of extra, whether it's man strength or something where Steve doesn't want to get too close because he's going to find himself getting caught up and tied up and all sorts of frustrated, and you know that can lead to mistakes further on in the fight.
There's some reddening on the left-hand side of Howells because Clarke's just starting to sneak through more often now. And that right hand to the body which he throws beautifully. And he properly puts some weight behind that shot as well.
He's actually thrown a really nice reverse 1-2, almost leading off. And the past exchange leading off with his right hand straight first, finishing on the jab, and it's almost caught Howells a few times.
You're right, he leads with that right hand, doesn't he? At times.
And you don't often see fighters finishing a combination with a straight jab, and sometimes they're the most eye-catching ones that are knocking your head back because you're just not expecting it.
Well, Howells at the end of that round was just kind of soaking up the punishment a bit there as Steve Clarke went to the head and the body and then kind of smiles at him as the bell rings to say, keep them coming, they're not really hurting me. But as you pointed out earlier on, I think, Nathaniel, is quite often when someone does that, it is because they're getting through, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, and they will be getting through. Do you know, and beg my pardon, but I never watched the weigh-in yesterday. It would be interesting to see the weight difference now because Howells looks like he can absorb these punches well and probably can absorb them all night. And then, you know, going by Steve's record, you can never judge because you don't know who he's fought, but he's just got the 1 KO, so, you know, power-wise, what's he got in the tank there, and is it troubling Howells, or, you know, interesting to see as the fight goes on what unfolds.
I mean, what we have seen with Steve Clarke, and I've covered a lot of his fights so far, is he's not, you know, kind of got that one-punch knockout power necessarily, but he just does seem to break his opponents down. It'd be quite interesting as the rounds get more. He's in an 8-rounder tonight, but when he gets to those kind of 10-rounders and so on, and also how this fight plans out when we get to those later rounds, because he just chips away and does a good job of it in the process.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's sort of developed his man strength, so to speak. But he has got a good variation of punches. And with them small 8-ounce gloves on anyway, anyone can punch if they catch you right. You get caught with them little small gloves on in the right place, you're feeling it, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't think he needs to really worry or focus on that. That'll come naturally, just work on a little bit of strength, a bit of resistance training and that kind of stuff. That's when the power and strength comes. But yeah, I don't think he needs to be focusing really too much on that. He's just focusing on getting experience and improving every day as a fighter in the gym.
And I think that's important because, as I said, having covered quite a few of his fights, he's definitely improving. He's not stagnating. He's getting better and better with each performance, which is exactly what obviously he will want and his team will want and the people around him will want to. But this is good, well-disciplined boxing from Liverpool's Steve Clarke, as he just leans in on Howells on the ropes there and just digs in that left hook into the body over and over again. There it is, switches it upstairs.
Nice, and changing his heights as well on the ropes, you know, not just standing tall and throwing punches away. He's throwing his head off the line, he's crouching down, he's making himself small while he's going to the body and stuff. So as a tall, rangy fighter, he's working really nice and neatly on the inside and up close here.
Howells almost gunning him on there, Nathaniel.
Yeah, and you just need to not buy into any of this. It's just tricks of the trade, and if he is genuinely not feeling it and he's trying to get Steve to unload and gas himself out and buy the bait, and he's waving him on, and you know, Steve just needs to keep the head about himself and do what he's doing. He's boxing lovely and he's picking all the right shots and he's doing all the right things, like Josh said. His head's off the line after he throws. He's not buying into the waving in and the other stuff, so to speak.
No, he's not. And then Howells almost always comes back with a kind of mini tack of his own, but that was good head movement there from Steve Clarke, who makes his man miss. He'll reset and go again. But this has been another good round for him.
Yeah, a big part of the boxing game that people don't ever kind of acknowledge is focus, and it's always about power, hand speed, this, that, and the next thing, but how you focus through a fight is very important as well. And you know, one moment of your focus slipping or one round of your focus slipping can change the whole dynamic. So he's doing very good not to bite and buy into the kind of waving on and the theatrics.
That focus is very important, isn't it, Josh, as Nathaniel just said?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a fine line of being trying too hard and sort of being too relaxed. You know, it's a fine line of just getting it right in the middle, having the right amount of focus and attention, but not too much sort of tension, and so where you're stiff and tight. It's sort of a very fine line of being tight but loose. You know,
yeah, I got you.
Relaxed but tight is at the same time as well. You know, it's a very, very fine line to find that balance.
That's how you end up finding yourself a meme saying stuff. I'm going back to the stream to catch that later on.
Someone's clipping it up now. Steve Clarke just in the centre of the ring, trying to keep control of that. Just really trying to play the game and make sure he's in control of every little bit of this, every little aspect of it at all times. And as these guys have so eloquently put, he's not been drawn into kind of the body language or the kind of stuff which Howells has been doing on the ropes and encourage him to really have a go. He's been fighting the fight which he wants to fight, and fighting a very mature fight in the process. So I'm sure the corner team will be very happy with that.
Actually, nice one too there.
I actually think Howells has got quite a nice wee jab and just a wee deterrent, and he's almost just as if he's not fit enough to throw his hands enough. So, you know, he's under the pressure for Steve and he can't keep him off, because after his jab and after his wee combination, he's kind of into defensive mode.
It's a good observation, that, because I was thinking that with the amount of times and the kind of duration he's lent against the ropes, because I know he's soaking up the shots there, but he's not really doing much other than that, is he? And it's a bit of respite for him almost, even though there's punches and bunches coming flying at him, but he seems conditioned enough to take it. Steve Clarke just chipping away every single second and around. Hasn't taken his eyes off of him for not even a millisecond.
Lovely shots, and same thing as we spoke about earlier on. You're not going to get these guys out there with one shot or two shots. It needs to be a combination, it needs to be a barrage of punches. And you know, I seen Howells kind of nodded to the ref there to say I'm fine, but at the end of the day, it's not his decision. And if Steve's get the fitness and the pressure to put him under that and keep him keep stopping punching, then a stoppage can come.
Exactly that. It's a dangerous game to play, isn't it? Sometimes, which Howells is doing, where he's kind of just letting him unload a load of shots on him because the ref can stop it whenever he wants to.
Oh, shot.
Nice 1-2.
Textbook 1-2 there from Clarke.
Just fundamentally very good. Oh, again, I don't know if it's Howells is leaning down when the shot lands, but it looks like it's kind of... It does look like it's hurting him.
Just kind of watching Howells from a couple of feet away. He does everything in a way which he's meant to do. Like, so we talk about the fundamentals and the positive good stuff which Clarke's doing. But Howells' kind of role here as an away corner fighter. He's standing on his toes. He's grabbing his arm on the blind side of the referee. He's doing a bit of everything, isn't he?
Sorry interrupting you. We're both racing to the mic there. But he is using a little bit the old sort of pros tricks and the sort of journeyman tricks, and sort of little sneaky shots, holding them up and tying them up on the ropes and things like that. So it's making Steve work a little bit and think a little bit more, which is good.
But that old amateur background will come through and he'll be able to adapt to that stuff. It'll be nothing which he hadn't experienced before. And this is all about building a young fighter. This is the apprenticeship.
I'd certainly say that last round there was the best round for Steve so far, and he only seems to be warming into it, really, to be honest. The first few rounds he was finding his feet, deciding what was happening, how was trying to frustrate him. That last round he seemed to be doing whatever he wanted, and in my eyes, Howells starting to kind of fade a bit.
Howells is kind of defensively quite good, actually. You know, he's good at kind of those 3 or 4 shots come in, and he's good at making him miss, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the wee movements, the catches with his hands, the slight off-centre head movement, but again, it's good for the start of the round, the first minute of the round, and then he seems to just almost fade and tire and starts to get caught with more at the end of the round, as we've seen that last round there.
Nice 1-2 there from Clarke, and then he just catches Howells on the jab and changes his angle. Good work from the man from Liverpool, as Howells just comes forward and sneaks a right uppercut through the middle of the guard of Clarke.
Lovely wee uppercut there he caught him with, and it, like I said at the start of the fight, I really like Steve's jab. It's constantly working, it's up, it's down, it's opening up the kind of shots, because you spoke about Howells' wee bits of movement there in his defence. The jab that he's constantly popping out is making him move his head, but then he's moving his head onto the other shots that Steve's kind of following up on after the jabs.
I'm a big fan of the way that Clarke changes the levels. He's very good at kind of switching from the body up to upstairs. A moment ago he threw a double left hook to the body and then just turns it over upstairs. And he's technically brilliant when he does it. And there he goes again. And Howells doesn't really know when these shots are coming.
Yeah, he's changing the levels well. You know, he's changing the angles and the heights of himself. You know, he's quite tall for the weight, but he's getting down nice and low, making himself small and coming round the sides of his opponent's elbows. And he stepped up this round, and he's starting to get to his opponent, and he's impressing me this round here. Showing a little bit of spite.
Howells just tries to tie him up again. Clarke can't wait to get out of there the second that happens, and there's that stiff jab of his. And that uppercut nearly got through from Howells there as we go into the last few seconds of this round. But you can see, Nathaniel, how and why Clarke has won pretty much every round of his pro career so far.
Yeah, he's just sound, fundamentally sound, doing all the right things, very focused. He's focused enough to just keep doing the right thing, and it's almost as if he's not bothered about what his opponent's doing, whether it's this guy, the next guy. He's just going to keep doing the same things and doing them right, and that's all that matters. And as long as you do that and stick to that, you'll keep winning fights.
And do you know what, Josh? He seems like the sort of fighter who's being given instructions. And I think it was Adam Booth said this to me, or someone I was with at the time. No, it was Dave Coldwell. He said you get fighters and you can give them instructions, and they go yeah, whatever, yeah, you know, and then they just go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then you get fighters who listen and actually do what you've told them to do, and they are the absolute best of the best.
Yeah, and I think obviously Steve Clarke is obviously listening to the coaches here, and he's carrying out what the instructions are by the sounds of it. You know, they seem nice and calm and collected in the corner, so they seem happy enough with him.
Well, both men straight to the centre of that ring again. And there's that jab which just snaps the head back of Howells. He certainly got through with many of those, and there's another. And the sweat bounces off Howells' head and glimmers in the brightness of the lights here at the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool. If you're just joining us, welcome along. Loads of good fights already, and a proper action-packed main card coming up later with the WBA Featherweight Championship of the World on the line in our main event between Nick Bull and Brandon Figueroa. But here we are with Steve Clarke doing plenty of the same, but plenty of good. And there's another solid 1-2 there from the man from Liverpool.
That was millimetres away from his whiskers there on the chin. If that had caught him there and that landed, that would have been lights out there. That was a cracking 1-2 there.
Just doing everything right, everything great. His jab's brilliant. His stiff 1-2s landing every time, but at will almost now. So it's what a performance.
Howells just trying to grab on again. And John Latham, the referee, splits him up. Clarke, well, I was going to say, we'll waste no time and get another attack, but gets hit with a double jab from Howells, who's done plenty in this fight, but no way near enough to win any of the rounds, in my opinion.
No.
Like you said earlier on in the contest, he's done his role well. He's through back. He's almost stayed in the pocket sometimes, most of the time, and he's using his strength to lean and twist and do what he needs to do. But like you're saying, he's not done anywhere near enough, or not that he's not done enough, maybe, but just Clarke's just done everything right that he's meant to be doing.
Good work there from Clarke. Body and head again. He does that brilliantly. And here comes Howells.
Looks like he's tiring a little bit here, Steve. This round he's maybe just having a little bit of a breather. Hopefully he is. He looks like he's just having a little bit of a breather, but looks a little bit tired, or starting to slow down a little bit, the pace a little bit. But he's still boxing really well and he's still in control of the fight, obviously, but he just looks like he's maybe tiring a little bit. Maybe get a little bit better at sort of managing his pace. You know, I don't know if this is his first 8-round fight.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because especially towards the end of that round there, he started to look a little bit more tired, didn't he?
A little bit more heavy and stuff, you know. So it's maybe just, but when he gets back to the gym with the coaches, maybe just that's the things I've sort of kind of been picking up on. Working on maybe just varying up the speed and the power of his shots rather than everything being the same sort of power and speed, because that can drain the energy. But sometimes you can throw maybe 4 or 5 maybe lighter punches just to distract your opponent and then put a stiff one in at the end. That helps sort of manage the energy levels a little bit more in a longer contest fight.
And Howells is doing a good job of making him wear out by kind of grabbing hold of him, leaning in on him, and just kind of tiring him out like that. Yeah. And that takes a lot out of your legs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit tired now as well. So, yeah, it's a great fight for Steve. It's a great learning fight. So, like, if I was his coaches, I'd be maybe starting working on a little bit of sort of resistance, kind of strength training, you know, with weighted vests and running and sort of that kind of sort of training with the weighted vest on to get your sort of strength and so you're all round solid. But apart from that, I've got absolutely no criticisms of him. He's boxing really, really lovely here.
Well, high praise from Josh Taylor and Nathaniel Collins at ringside for Steve Clarke.
One thing I would say, and that's probably contributing to his, perceived fatigue is, in my opinion, just visually, Howells looks a little bit heavier. Whether that's the case or not, again, I didn't watch the weigh-in, but you've got this big guy grabbing you, leaning on you, kind of zapping your energy as well. So not only are you starting to fatigue from you putting all the shots together, you've also got this guy in close holding you like that. You're struggling to get out of the grip. It might be something to work on in the gym, where somebody is grabbing you and grappling you, and you just try and get loose, get out without fighting.
Yeah, again, and that's that kind of that strength resistance kind of training thing that I was talking about. So get one of your coaches, get Paul, for example, his manager Paul, to get in there and wrestle with him, grapple with him, lean on him, put him on the ropes and move him around the ring to tire him out and get him used to using his strength to fight someone off. Well,
it sounds like that's what they'll be doing in the gym next week. As a Steve Clarke, you've got Josh Taylor and Nathaniel Collins to blame.
He trains at the Four Corners gym in Liverpool as well, and they've got a big UFC kind of training facility underneath, and loads of good grapplers and guys in the UFC. So he should get down and do a bit of wrestling, I think.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's actually a really good idea, because there is times when you're in the fight there, Nathaniel, you know yourself, when you're maybe up against the ropes or you've got your opponent in the corner and you are kind of grappling and wrestling and holding arms to try and get your elbow and get that undertuck to create space so you can get your punches away. So yeah, I think that would be quite a good idea to do that kind of training and to sort of help develop his strength. But he is boxing lovely here. He's picking off some beautiful shots here.
The last 30 seconds in the penultimate round of this 8-round contest. But Steve Clarke hasn't really put a foot wrong. Howells has made him work throughout, constantly kept him thinking. Every trick in the book has been used.
We actually seen him take a deep breath in there, Clarke, and I think Howells seen it too, because he started to push on.
I feel like Howells has grown a bit of confidence the last couple of rounds, actually. Maybe that's just where he's seen Steve Clarke get a little bit knackered and the attacks aren't as forthcoming as they were. Yeah,
a little bit. He's sort of fatigue starting to set in a little bit by the looks of it. So he's getting a little bit tired, so his strength is not quite at the same as it was. But again, he's boxing great, and he's in boxing terms, he's a baby in boxing terms, so he's got a lot of time to go back, and he'll know himself. He'll feel a little bit tired and where he needs to work on that, a little bit of physical strength, overall just sort of man strength, but you get that with sometimes younger guys, kids get late developers, with strength. I was one myself. I was 27, 28 by the time I started being able to feel a little bit stronger. So yeah,
he's got mine.
No, he's got loads of times, but this is another great fight for him and a big learning experience.
Right, the two touch gloves for the 8th and final round. And Steve Clarke is 24 years old. Looking like he's going to move to 9-0. All going well. And we reach the final bell here. And both of them are coming out with a bit of urgency, which is nice.
Yeah, you want to see that from a prospect as well. He's want to come in and make sure he gets the job done. Maybe you can try and finish it with a highlight reel finish or get the stoppage, so it'd be a perfect end to the fight. But Howells just came out and started having a go as well. So, yeah, he's maybe had a little bit of belief as well.
But the amount of times that you hear in boxing gyms and interviews and just in boxing in general over the years.
A lovely shot. That
was a good left hook to the body there. Shot. And he kind of looked to his corner, and there is that delayed reaction. And I was just about to say that when you look for it, it doesn't always come. But Howells felt that one, and it was a good one because there's a bit of a delay there. But
that was a lovely shot. The first shot was a shot, in my opinion. That first shot was a perfectly valid knockdown.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's hit him again. Ref.
He's really covering up that side there, and I think he's in a bit of trouble here. Lewis Howells, and Steve Clarke knows that as he just goes on the attack now, and the volume in the arena just starts to raise. And Howells, there's something going on the right-hand side of that body of his, because he's properly covering it up.
Sucking a lot of air in there as well.
Clarke knows it, and Howells just hanging on for dear life at the moment, but there is still a long time left in the round when you've got Steve Clarke coming at you and throws another couple of wicked shots to the body. And Howells will do well, and he isn't going to last it, and he's absolutely gutted. He wanted to get to that final bell, but Steve Clarke moves to 9-0 and secures his second stoppage in his professional career. Brilliant stuff for the man from Liverpool.
You know, I think that was the right call there, and the first shot should have been counted as a knockdown as well. So he got a wee chance to recover more than what he should have got. Howells there, and then you could see every body shot was hurting him after that.
You really could, and it was from, you know, we had the perfect angle for it from where we're sat at ringside, and it was a lovely shot to the body, and it was a genuine well, it should have been a count in our opinion, but it doesn't matter because Steve Clarke gets the win in the final round, and he will be chuffed to bits. But Lewis Howells, hold your chin high, put a good performance in there, was a solid opponent, did exactly what he was meant to do, and he knows it. Kind of smiled and interacted throughout the fight. So well done to him as well.
Mystic Meg, Josh Taylor, said at the start of that 8th round there as well, maybe he'll come out and get the finish on him, and he's came out and done it.
You guys must have heard me.
Mystic Meg, Josh Taylor, there you go. The Tartan Tornado is gone, Mystic Meg is here.
Get on him for your predictions.
Right, well, Thomas Schreiber has the official time, so over to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 1 minute 42 seconds of round number 8. Our referee, John Latham, steps in, stops the contest. Therefore, your winner by way of technical knockout. And still undefeated, Steve O. Clarke.
Well, congratulations to Steve Clarke, who was magnificent. We've had some crackers on this prelims card, but the action doesn't stop here. So make sure that you go over to DAZN for the main broadcast. A massive thank you to Josh Taylor and to Nathaniel Collins. Thank you for your company and enjoy the rest of the boxing.